can we make life easier, but how can we also reduce our costs? And so for us, that meant using Abre as both the parent portal, a place to look at student wellness, a place to be able to monitor, track, and support behaviors.
Hello, folks. Zach Vander Veen with Abre, and I'm really excited today on our podcast to have Adam and Stacy from Loveland City Schools. I'm going to let them do a brief intro here, but we're excited to be talking about a consolidation of tech stack and some time and cost savings that can be happening, particularly with us. We love Loveland. Loveland's been one of our first customers and have been with us on a journey for a very long time. So they've been part of the history. So it's great. And with that, Stace, Adam, do you mind just doing a quick introduction, who you are, background, role, etc. And we'll rock and roll.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Stace Puerta. I am the Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning with Loveland Schools. This is my third year here with Loveland, and prior to Loveland, I was in another district that also used Abre as well. I was an administrator there and a assistant superintendent, and then prior to that, I was a teacher for about 7 years.
And my name is Adam Samuels. I'm the coordinator of technology and innovation for Loveland. Oversee technology for the district, and then prior to this, I was a second and third grade teacher and a media specialist K through 6.
Love this. If y'all don't mind, and Stace, why don't we start with you? Talk a little bit in your experience as an administrator and going through your career, some of the challenges that you faced with lots of different systems and how you possibly experienced them, the headaches that may come from them, and just trying to find what you need to do your job.
Sure. I think really my biggest role is supporting teachers and making sure that teachers have the resources and the tools that they need to best support students and instruction. Because what we want teachers focusing on day in and day out is instruction and kids. And we don't want them to have to jump from tool to tool to tool just to be able to either fill out paperwork that they need to fill out or meet certain requirements or search for student information and all of these different pieces. We don't want them to necessarily have to juggle and spend time, valuable time that we really want them spending with students on those other pieces. And so basically allowing us to sort of consolidate a lot of different pieces into one program or platform really saves teachers a lot of time and allows them to get back to doing the work that they really want to do and that has the biggest impact on students.
Love that. Adam, do you have anything that you've seen, especially from the technology side of the house? Because we all know that that stuff can tend to grow pretty quickly. So I'm just curious from you,
I think one thing from the parent side, one thing, no matter what district I've been in, when talking to parents, the hardest part is for parents to interact within different systems to be able to get a line of sight into what their students are doing or how their students are doing in the classroom. And I think I remember specifically talking to one parent in a previous district where they said, if my kid's in third grade, I have to access this system. If my kid's in fifth grade, I have to access this system. And it's like 3 usernames and passwords. And I've got another 4 or 5 to access other parts just to be able to, have some entry into my kid's progress. And so for me, when I look at, we used to talk about the digital divide, and it was access to internet, right? Access to good internet speed or internet in general. And I think the new digital divide is really to be able to have literacy with programs, right? And how to interact with programs. And because of time and all the other things that we know play a role in everybody's daily life, I think that having multiple systems just creates challenges because you're spending a lot of time learning how to access those programs. And that's where I think we have the due diligence and the responsibility as a district to really try to make life as easy as possible to give parents access into supporting their kids.
So we're trying to think about this in terms of, or the subject of this particular episode is to be thinking about cost. And Adam, what I'm hearing you say, and Stace, you as well, is you have to think about cost beyond just money, right? You have to be thinking about it in terms of time and friction. And Stacey, I loved how you were saying the focus on supporting teachers, they don't want to be spending a bunch of time going to this program over here or this program over here to find it. I don't know, like I'm not putting you on the spot right here, but if you could like spitball or quantify, like have you, or maybe give an example of you're seeing that time being saved. Adam, you actually just did a really great job of like bringing up from a family or from a parent perspective, but I'm just curious from your perspective as admins or other admins or teachers as well, just that efficiency savings that you're seeing happening just with being able to do the gig.
Yep. I think for us, I mean, you could put it not just to the programs themselves that we haven't had to have in the districts or have removed in order to kind of funnel and become more consistent within Abre and use Abre as kind of our one-stop shop. I mean, I think you could put it in the hundreds of thousands of dollars because not only is it the cost of the program, but it's the cost of, like you said, the people, right? And how much time are they spending navigating through those programs, using those programs to support any issues or things that pop up, any questions. So for us, where we were at as a district was looking at all of our systems and saying, how can we make life easier, but how can we also reduce our costs? And so for us, that meant using Abre as both the parent portal, a place to look at student wellness, a place to be able to monitor, track, and support behaviors. And it eliminated, there's other things we'll talk about, like health plans and other things that really eliminated just the messy systems you often see in any organization of just having a ton of files, ton of folders everywhere that people are always trying to pass along or share. Here you've got one place for everybody to interact with that looks the same, whether you're a student, a parent, a staff member. But then to your point, just saved a ton of costs along the way. So just so many good factors that came out of some of the decision making here.
Well, and all those programs also have their own purchase orders associated with them, right? And those can tend to stack up quite a bit over time as well.
And I'll give you an example, Zach, also. Just thinking, obviously, like we've taken some components from other systems that we've used in the past, and we now use Abre for those, right? But then there's other ones where we were creating our own internal documents and systems, like for teacher professional development, to keep track of all of the hours that they're putting in so that they can renew their license every 5 years. We didn't really have a system in place, really, other than something that was just created in-house that was kind of clunky and hard to manage. And now that we were able to introduce forms in Abre, and they can go in and just make a copy of the form and upload their hours, they can redeem their tokens, things like that. It's made it so seamless for teachers to be able to just keep track of all of that in one place. And it makes it really easy to then send it off to the appropriate people to get the approval and then renew their license. And it just saves a lot of time doing that too.
Yeah. So that highlight of, and we encounter the home brewed solutions that you see in a lot of districts where it's, putting them in spreadsheet hell or just these systems that are wonky and only known by one or two people in the district. And then if they leave, then you're kind of, stuck. So how that goes right there. I'm curious, and this might be more a question for you, Stacy, but like in terms of like articulating this message to your superintendent, larger, or your board, just any tips or things that you see happening or having this conversation. And again, every district's different. Some districts are hyper focused on cost savings and making sure that you're the sometimes curiously used phrase being good stewards. So just curious, like any takeaways or things that you've had with interacting with other leadership or your board of education when it comes to saving time and saving money.
I mean, obviously, we always want to keep an eye on the financials. And Adam is very, very useful when it comes to that and sort of helping us, keep an eye on what's going on there, making sure that we're staying within or reducing costs. And so, we always try to keep that in mind. But I also think keeping in mind who our customers really are, which are students and parents, and going at it from that lens and looking at things in a way that provides the best experience for our parents and for our students. And whenever you can use examples, all of our board members have been parents of students who've come through the district. So whenever we can use concrete examples to say, remember when you used to have to do this and this and this and this? Well, now you can just log in here and everything is right here. It's very user friendly. It's very it's intuitive. So you're able to click around and figure out what you need very easily without having to, do a whole lot of work on the front end trying to learn a new system. And so whenever you can use those concrete examples to say, you don't have to do these 8 things anymore. It all lives in this one space, and then give them a brief tutorial on how to do it, I think it's kind of eye-opening.
One, I'm just curious. I can't because I don't remember for Loveland. What the reduction of ESSER funds is really a big topic that we tend to have with lots of our customers and lots of other school districts in different states. I'm just curious for you all, did that lead to a lot of critical conversations about, hey, this money's no longer here, and now we have to think about how do we continue to do other types of support, which then possibly leads you to think about how do I find cost savings in other areas? And just does that apply to you all
It does, of course.
or not?
I mean, those ESSER funds were here. We did a lot of different things with ESSER funds. One of the biggest impactful things that we did was hire some reading intervention teachers at the younger grades, and to sort of help close that gap that students lost with reading during COVID. And so once those ESSER funds ran out, we had to have some critical conversations about what impact have these teachers had on our students. And it's been great, and it's been significant in a positive way. And so we've had to talk about how can we sort of reallocate things so that we can keep these teachers that we have been paying for with ESSER funds over the past several years. How can we keep them, and what other things can we do differently so that we can keep them on board but not negatively impact student instruction in other ways as well?
I'm also curious. This one's always interesting, and how, because I feel the culture at Loveland's been really good about this. But when you are changing to different programs, like say you're starting to consolidate and doing more things with us, you're moving cheese, right? You're doing something different with your staff and everyone like that. And sometimes, even if folks have been doing something in a particular way, or Stacy, your example of like the home brewed and things like that, and it wasn't a good way, but there's what they're used to, right, and what they know. I'm curious how you two have one experienced that, but then like how do you navigate the challenge that you sometimes have with putting something new in place, particularly when when the new program that you're putting in place takes away the things that particular person was doing, because they don't have to do it anymore because the tech's in place. They're essentially becoming more efficient, but still not have necessarily an existential crisis like, oh no. I'm just curious if you've experienced that, how you've managed that, how you've gone through.
Yeah, so I think like anything, right? Bringing everybody to the table in that process. So from the behavior side, we piloted Abre behavior for a couple years. Gave people time to warm up to it, give feedback, make sure we navigate through it the way that it needs to work for us. And same with all the other tools. So we had our secretaries and other people in the district meet to look through the parent side, the student side, and kind of put us all really in the perspective of different roles within the district and how they are going to interact with that system. And I think by doing that, you get a lot of buy-in that way, right? You get a lot of buy-in. And for us, the biggest thing at the end of the day was that because we were creating a system through Abre that had really a lot of our tools in one place, that almost in itself, I would say, was a selling point. And whereas, typically when you're moving systems, you're moving from one to the next, and it's just one specific system to one other specific system. Here, we're moving a bunch of systems all into one space. And I think that even if the change is hard, there's a relief to that also, because people always crave having something in one space like that.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Adam. That's a great share. You are educators, so. That thing from the past that you were really excited about that was in school, whether it's when you were a student or when you were growing in your career as an educator, anything that sticks out and why?
Do you have one off the top?
I would say for me, my motto is always, it's simple: give kids a reason to walk in the door each morning. And so I like to, along with all the things you do in your daily day in education, I like to think about how we can create experiences that might not have existed before or just haven't existed in that district. So for me, in both districts I've been in, we've developed a science and innovation expo where students, it's kind of like science fair meets STEM maker fair all in one day. So it's a high energy day where kids come in with amazing projects, everything from science-based ones to coding projects to all sorts of different things. And to see the excitement on the kids' face, to see the opportunity it creates for the community to come together in one place and just share and celebrate great learning opportunities. For me, that to me is those are the moments that you realize that you're in a special place and that you've done a special thing. So.
Oh gosh. Okay. I have two.
I know some of yours. They're so cool.
Honestly, like when I think of like elementary school, I just remember the monkey bars, like more than anything.
Weren't they
They were
great?
awesome. They were so much fun. Like,
They were so
you got
awesome.
double recess, that was like the icing on the cake, like just running out to the monkey bars. I did gymnastics, and so I just thought it was like the best thing ever. But also, I think one thing that kind of led me on into this career as a path was my mom was a teacher, and she would like bring home supplies like whenever I was younger, and I would go up to my room with like all of these teacher supplies, and I would pretend I was a teacher teaching to all of the students, and I would read books, and I'd hold it like this, like, elementary teachers do, even though I was never an elementary teacher. And I would like turn the pages and read the book and learn how to read upside down and do all those things. And, I still remember that now, just being in my room for hours and hours doing that. And then, who would have known 20 years later I'd be a teacher? So
I love that. That's so great. Awesome. Adam, you had just reminded me, I did have an innovation question for you all. So thesis being would you agree with this? Yes or no? In order to be innovative, you have to be okay with failure. What do you think?
Absolutely. Because I think,
would you say,
I 100% agree.
Please.
I'd 100% agree.
Yeah.
When you look at innovation, I feel like so often people think it's something groundbreaking that you're doing. You have to create something groundbreaking, or it's technology based or things like that. But I think some of the best innovation is looking at just things you're already doing and finding ways to do it better. So I think in order to do something better, it takes walking into the unknown a little bit, and it takes dipping your toe in the water of whatever it is that you want to attempt to do. And it takes, a lot of times a good support system and people around you that can help you get to that place. So, but I think it's definitely failures. You have to be okay with that. You have to be modest. You have to be, able to take some humility along the way, and the outcome, knowing that it's for a greater outcome, makes it all worth it.
Would both of you say that Loveland is a place where you have a culture of innovation?
Absolutely.
Where folks can try different ideas 100%. and then if they do fail, still be in a way where like, hey, we're gonna lift you up, you learn, you go, whether it's teachers or whether it's students themselves.
Yep. I think that's just embedded in our culture at this point, and our leadership team at the building levels is so supportive of teachers in those spaces.
That's awesome. Great. Thank you. I mean, obviously, current role is Chief Innovation Officer. It's just something I think about all the time, and I just love having conversations with colleagues and just asking that question about, all right, well, how is innovation actually manifesting itself? This will probably be a future podcast about that. So maybe have you back on. Adam, from a CTO or a tech director, tech coordinator perspective, and Stacy from a superintendent perspective, what would you tell a fellow CTO or a fellow superintendent about why you should use Abre?
Yeah, I would say for us, for me, if I was talking to another tech director, Abre is really a place to bring all your systems into and have one cohesive system that everybody interacts with. It looks the same for everyone, parents, students, staff, and it allows you to really achieve a lot of those daily operations you do as a district, along with having the line of sight into students. All just in one space. And that's ultimately what we desire in every program, is to be able to have one space where we can interact with just about anything we need to be able to accomplish the work that we're doing.
I second what Adam said. The only thing I would add is just from a streamlining like lens and making sure that it's the same experience across the board. But going back to what I talked about a little bit earlier, just finding something that is user friendly and intuitive, so that teachers can really spend the majority of their time teaching and doing the things that they're passionate about, which is working with kids and great instruction in the classroom. And so it's great to have a platform like Abre where everything kind of lives in that one place. They know that they can get to almost anything that they need from Abre. And so it just is, for them, I think teachers look at it as time-saving tool for them, so that they can focus on what they want to in the classroom.
Well, thank you all. Really appreciate it. If folks want to learn more about Abre, you can visit abre.com. If you would like to read a really cool case study with Abre and Loveland featuring Stacy and her observations. We also have that on there. And Adam or Stacy, why don't you do a shout out? I mean, again, what's Loveland's website? If I think I know it, but I might get it wrong, so I'm just gonna
Lovelandschools.org.
There we go. Nice and simple. Lovelandschools.org. If people want to learn more about Loveland, there it is as well. Thank you all so much. Really appreciate it. And looking forward to riffing on some other ideas in the future. So
Sounds good. Thanks, Zach.
Thanks, Zach.
Cool.
Appreciate you.